superstars and rookies. And oh, by the way, they have the MVP and
I had tremendous hope for this Super Bowl. I mean, you had Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs offense going up against the ferocious pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles. You had the up-and-coming and what seems to be unstoppable Shane Steichen Philadelphia Eagles offense facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, which is fairly underrated. And boy, did this Super Bowl not disappoint. So before we get to the content, bear in mind, we have a lot to discuss this week. From Derek Carr essentially sabotaging the Las Vegas Raiders, to the New York Jets reaching out to the Green Bay Packers to potentially start trade discussions on Aaron Rodgers. What? So before we get to the content, make sure you hit that subscribe and that notification bell. I will always do my best to bring you the news as fast as I can. And now that we get all that out of the way, break. Usually when this happens, we all make bank. PrizePicks is hooking us up for the Super Bowl with a free square from Patrick Mahomes, which means Mahomes just needs one passing yard in order for his square to convert. So all you have to do if you want to join is go to the link in the description down below, download PrizePicks, and use my promo code Mikerophone so they can match up to $100 of your deposit. And once you're done with that, make these picks. Obviously, you should go with the Patrick Mahomes 0.5 passing yards and click more. Once you're done with that, one of my sleepers is going to be Kenneth Gainwell, who has been a monster throughout the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he just needs to get higher than 21.5 rush yards. So we're going to click more there. And if Kenneth Gainwell gets more than 21.5 rush yards, you could 3x your money. Now, if you feel really good about this, you could also add Travis Kelce scoring 1 touchdown. And if both of these hit, you 5x your money. I play PrizePicks each and every day, and I post my picks to my story on Instagram. So make sure you're following me there if you want to see my picks on a daily basis. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? All of my fans know I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, and I'm quite a bit of a Patrick Mahomes fan. But I have tremendous respect for the Philadelphia Eagles and how they got here. The current trend in the NFL is seeming more and more to be identifying a quarterback on a rookie scale contract, really believing in their talent, and surrounding said quarterback with as many assets as humanly possible. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles did with Jalen Hurts. You're underpaying a quarterback that you really believe in, so why not trade for AJ Brown? Why not fortify that defense with players like Hassan Reddick, drafting Jordan Davis, signing Ndamukong Suh in the middle of the season, trading for Robert Quinn in the middle of the season, essentially stealing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the New Orleans Saints, which is a move that I still can't believe the Saints made. I mean, they kind of looked at Tyrann Mathieu and said, hey,
we'd rather get older at the safety position and pay our safety more than continue with the player that has been performing for us, so we'll trade him to the Eagles.
But it wasn't just that. You had Darius Slay combined with James Bradbury, which was signed from free agency, and all of a sudden, this Philadelphia Eagles pass rush is amongst the best in the entire NFL. Philadelphia Eagles fans went from wanting Howie Roseman out of the front office for botching the Carson Wentz situation. Remember when Philadelphia Eagles fans were mad at Howie Roseman for trading Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts? All of a sudden, he's sort of looking like a genius because Carson Wentz fell out of favor with the Indianapolis Colts, and now the Washington Commanders, and now his football future is in question. So if there's a team that deserved to get here, man, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense runs really well as a result of Shane Steichen and that terrifying triple option RPO that teams have had a lot of trouble stopping. So there are a lot of narratives surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles and their hype coming into this game. One being the famous Super Bowl MVP curse, which we made shorts on and we made TikToks on. For those of you guys that don't know, there has never been a player in NFL history that won regular season MVP and then won the Super Bowl subsequently. In 2013, Peyton Manning won the MVP, but he got blown out in the Super Bowl by the Seattle Seahawks. In 2016, Matt Ryan won the MVP, and for the first half of that Super Bowl, he looked unstoppable. The second half of that Super Bowl against the Patriots is a different story. Who could forget the year before when Cam Newton won MVP, led the Carolina Panthers to a 15-1 record, and then made it to the Super Bowl and became famous for the fact that he didn't dive on a fumble that was clearly underneath his his feet. So the narrative surrounding this Super Bowl is, would Patrick Mahomes be good enough to be able to shatter that narrative? Would he be the first player to win regular season MVP and win his team a Super Bowl? On top of that, Patrick Mahomes is a top 5 paid QB. My own narrative has always been that a quarterback on a maximum contract would never be able to win a Super Bowl, primarily because the depth on his team is going to take a hit. And in the Kansas City Chiefs case, that's exactly what happened. They had to get rid of their top wide receiver in Tyreek Hill. Hell, in this game, Patrick Mahomes didn't even have McCole Hardman, because congrats to McCole Hardman, he welcomed a child into this world. So there were so many narratives surrounding this game, including the fact that Andy Reid might retire. And what better way to go out on top than if you were able to beat your former team that you were the first head coach of in the Super Bowl. This game would start out in absolutely electrifying fashion. Thankfully, it wasn't a defensive game, despite the Philadelphia Eagles' highly touted pass rush. The Eagles would open the game with the ball and would lead a 11-play drive that would result in Jalen Hurts sneaking up the middle in the red zone for a touchdown. The Kansas City Chiefs would then get the ball back, and man, did Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce really look like 3-time Super Bowl vets in this particular drive and for the majority of this game. Patrick Mahomes would find Travis Kelce to start for a 20-yard reception, and the drive would end with Patrick Mahomes finding Travis Kelce for an 18-yard touchdown. The Philadelphia Eagles would get the ball back, and they would go 3 and out. At this point, it started to look like the tide was turning in the favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, and the first big decision came when the Kansas City Chiefs would get the ball back and lead a 42-yard drive. On 4th and 3, they had a very important decision to make. Do they decide to kick a field goal and depend on the always trusty Harrison Butker to convert from 42 yards, or do they decide to go for it on 4th and 3? They decided to kick a field goal, and it would doink on the left post, which would give the Philadelphia Eagles fantastic field position. And believe me, this is the last team that you would want to give great field position to, as the Philadelphia Eagles would get the ball back, lead a 5-play drive, but most of the yardage came on the final play when Jalen Hurts delivered a moonshot to AJ Brown for a 45-yard touchdown. God damn! Huge shout out to AJ Brown and Travis Kelce, by the way, because as a result of Travis Kelce's receiving yards and AJ Brown's crazy touchdown, we were able to convert on our prize picks. By the way, if you want to sign up for prize picks, promo code Mikerophone to get up to a $100 deposit match. AJ Brown really showed how he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL on this particular play, and it seemed like the Philadelphia Eagles were really starting to take control of this game. As a matter of fact, the Kansas City Chiefs would get the ball back, go 3 and out, punt it back to the Eagles. The Eagles had the opportunity to go ahead. Unfortunately, on this particular drive, the Philadelphia Eagles would make a horrific mistake. On the 6th play of the drive, on 3rd and 5, Jalen Hurts would attempt to rush. Unfortunately, he would fumble the ball, and not only would the Kansas City Chiefs recover the ball, but they would take it all the way to the end zone to even the score 14-14. Just like that, the Eagles have the opportunity to go up 21-7, but instead, the game is tied. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles would get the ball back and would make the most of their opportunity. Following a very long 12-play drive that chewed up 7 minutes of clock, Jalen Hurts would rush down the middle for a touchdown. This would take us all the way to the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below, where would you rank this halftime show amongst all Super Bowl halftime shows? Personally, I think the one from last year was slightly better, but I have a soft spot for gangster rap and Eminem and 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Grew up with the music, still listen to that music, but at the same time, I have a soft spot and nostalgic spot for Rihanna, which, by the way, is it just me or did she look pregnant? All right, we're a sports channel. We're a football channel. We're not going to talk about that. I think it was a relatively good Super Bowl halftime show. Still not as good as the Bubble Bowl. This takes us to the 4th quarter, where things got really heated as the Kansas City Chiefs drove all the way down to take the lead as a result of a Patrick Mahomes pass to Kadarius Toney for a touchdown. The Philadelphia Eagles would then go 4 and out and punt the ball to the Chiefs. And for some reason, this quarter appeared to be the Kadarius Toney quarter. Yeah, that was everyone's reaction to the Kadarius Toney return, as he took a punt return all the way to the 5-yard line and put Patrick Mahomes in remarkable field position to find Sky Moore for a touchdown, which would then put the Kansas City Chiefs up by 7 points. But Jalen Hurts wouldn't go down without a fight. As a matter of fact, I think this was probably the best drive of the game. Jalen Hurts would get the ball back and immediately march the Philadelphia Eagles back on an 8-yard drive that concluded ended with him throwing a 45-yard bomb to Devontae Smith and then sneaking it up the middle for a touchdown. Then there was a question about whether or not they would be able to convert the 2-point conversion. And Jalen Hurts heroically went through the Kansas City Chiefs defense to tie the game at 35. What an electric offensive Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles would have the opportunity to potentially stop Kansas City Chiefs in the red zone with less than 2 minutes left to go in the game. Unfortunately, a hold by James Bradberry completely shifted the momentum of the game because it gave the Kansas City Chiefs a fresh set of downs with under 2 minutes left to go in the game in the red zone. All they had to really do was milk some clock and then kick a field goal, and then all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes wins his second Super Bowl. And just like that, as a result of James Bradberry's horrific mistake, the Kansas City Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. Now I'm gonna touch on this for about 30 to 45 seconds because I don't want to come off as a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be the person that said,
Oh, the ref stole the Super Bowl.
I think for us, when you look at officiating, I don't think it's ever been better in the league.
I'm just going to show you the play that James Bradberry got a defensive holding called on, and you guys let me know in the comment section down below if you thought that this was a defensive hold, because this game was awesome. I mean, from the Philadelphia Eagles side to the Kansas City Chiefs side, the offense was so freaking entertaining. And for this game to essentially end on a defensive holding call that, I'm going to be honest, didn't really look like a defensive hold. And bear in mind, there's a freaking Patrick Mahomes jersey on my wall.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't want the Eagles to win.
When you consider all of those factors, you have to let me know in the comment section down below. Are you happy with the way the Super Bowl ended and the way this was called? I'm not going to put any thoughts out there. I wanted you guys to have a discussion about it in the comment section. I'm not insinuating one thing or the other. I just wanted to get my community's reaction to this. Do you think that was the right call or not?
Held on that last play when they threw the flag.
Oh, yes, 100%.
This was a remarkable game played by both sides. I mean, the score tells it all, 38-35. It was one hell of a game, and it was one of the most enjoyable Super Bowls I've seen in recent memory. Probably comparable to the Eagles' last Super Bowl appearance versus the New England Patriots. The MVP of this game is without a doubt Andy Reid. I mean, I personally thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to drop back at least 40 times, but you can't really do that when you're facing off against a ferocious pass rush that the Philadelphia Eagles had. So what did Andy Reid do? Well, he depended on Isaiah Pacheco a decent amount, and his play calling was absolutely on point tonight, which resulted in Patrick Mahomes winning his second Super Bowl despite an injury, in addition to Andy Reid, who would win his second Super Bowl and the first against his former team. This is a legacy-defining Super Bowl for both of them, especially considering the fact that Patrick Mahomes has significant momentum to being the face of the NFL right now. There was a huge conversation about him being good enough to be inducted to the Hall of Fame currently. I know a lot of people are going to say that
he didn't really do so much in this game, Mike. He only threw for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but did you also notice that he didn't get sacked once? I mean, Mahomes was 21 of 27 for 182 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Jalen Hurts had himself an all-time game, by the way, rushing for 70 yards, throwing for 304 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns on this game, and a rating of 103.4. The question about the Philadelphia Eagles' future is a real one. What are they going to do now? Because now Jalen Hurts is without a doubt going to command a maximum contract extension. What's going to happen next year when people have a whole offseason to really study the Shane Steichen offense? Is it sustainable carry into next year and have the same amount of success? Or are the Philadelphia Eagles going to crash back to earth, especially because they're not going to be able to afford the resources that are going to be around Jalen Hurts with that brand new contract he's going to get? Obviously, his cap hit might not hit until later on down the line. We still have yet to see what the contract's even going to look like. And after all, the opponent that Jalen Hurts went up against, Patrick Mahomes, is a top 5 paid QB in the NFL. At the end of the day, man, as a person that truly appreciates the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, I am so happy for him. This game was one of the toughest games that he had to face, considering the fact that he needed to take pain meds and face off against one of the most difficult defenses in the NFL. I give this Super Bowl a 10 out of 10 for entertainment value. Let me know what you guys think about the Super Bowl in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.